kind of complicated, which is really fun in our family. We have 2 homegrown kids, as we like to call them, or biological, 2 boys, 7, almost 8, and a 6-year-old almost. And then we have adopted a little girl who's 2.5 through foster care, and we currently have a foster care placement, and she is about 11 months old. So I work at Asbury University. I'm a social work professor there. I've been there, this is my 6th year. I started as a resident director there, so I love working with college students and connecting with them. And I also love being a foster parent because it really connects me well to a lot of what we talk about in the classroom.
And I am a stay-at-home mom. Get to hang out with all of our kids and run them around. It's the best. Fostering, I think, has always been on our minds as we started thinking about our family. We're trying to remember if it was even, like maybe even before we got married, just kind of whenever the conversation started about what do we think our family could look like in the future. We always knew that fostering and adopting is something that we wanted to be a part of it.
I don't think there was a moment where one of us felt the call before the other. We kind of always talked about what would it be like to have a different looking family, I think is where we kind of started at, and just kind of processing what that looked like. So we knew that there was a need to care for kids, and there's a lot of kids that maybe needed some support or their parents needed some support. So we thought that this is a great way for us to advance the cause of Christ and really expand the gospel through caring for kids.
So day-to-day, real life as foster parents is kind of a lot of waiting. It's a lot of unknown. It's a lot of waiting for somebody to call and tell us what to do or where to be. Our situations with both of our girls have been really unique in that they've both gone to adoption pretty quickly. The goals have changed pretty quickly. So I'd say that it's been really unique for us and that it might not be a normal experience that most people would think of with foster care. But it has been really cool to walk through and just be faithful in that.
Similar to that, I think we have to process what adoption and foster care looks like for our entire family. So it's been really cool to guide our boys, our oldest boys who are our biological children, into what that looks like. What does that conversation look like? What does family look like? And it's really cool to hear my 7-year-old say, I can't wait till such and such comes to stay with us, or I love helping to care for them. So it's been really cool to be a family on mission in that. And then we also know that there is a heaviness and weight that's gonna be, as our little girls at this point get older, processing how do we share their story with them and talk to them about what life looks like as they get older. We've been fostering for 3 years now, and this is really, I think for me, felt like where I've really seen God's grace more than anywhere else. The opportunity for me to step out and say, hey, I'm going to take care of someone else that is not my own at this moment, just feels like the adoption of Christ, right? Like we're adopted into the family of Christ and what it means to become followers of Him. Similarly, I feel the same way about being a foster parent, about caring for kids. And there's rough days, there's really hard days, and I would say most of that's not even just because it's with foster care, it's just being an adult with children, right? And the idea of like, oh, we have to feed kids and we have to do bedtimes and we have to do and then we do it the same day over and over and over, right? Sometimes it's just the repetition of it. But God really does renew us, and I feel that in this, in serving, and it really feel like I have a better understanding and grasp of what grace looks like and of what it means to be adopted into the family of Christ.
Ultimately, for me, it's just something it's really opened my eyes to just how temporary this earth is. Like our life on this earth is so fleeting, it's so temporary, as well as like the people in my home are temporary. My spouse, my kids are not my own. That's something that I think is really challenging for all of us to let go of and loosen our grip on. So just being in this world of foster care and the unknown of, we could get a phone call that says that a child is leaving, that a child gets to be reunified with their family, which is the goal, which is what we're in it for, but would still be so jarring to our family right here in this home that we've created.
I think it comes up in my conversations in the classroom fairly regularly. I wouldn't say every every class, but I'm able to relay to them, to the students, what is it like on the other side? What's it like to have a social worker ourselves? Because Jordan and I have a social worker that's assigned to us, and kind of processing what that looks like, but also being on the serving end for connecting with families and things like that. So it really brings a lot of connections to the classroom and how you actually can live out and serve well. Christ sought out people and served their physical and emotional needs before even talking to them about their spiritual needs. So I think social work is a great spot to think about, how do we connect with them, meet them at their lowest of lows or in their time of need, financially, socially, emotionally, maybe with their families, and then be able to say, how do you grow in that? So I think social work's a great spot to, be just like Jesus. I always say to my students, being a social worker is just like being like Jesus. So why Asbury at social work? First of all, I think we have top-rate professors that have done social work practice, that have been engaged in the community in lots of different settings, whether it be from clinical, hospital, medical, case management, all these different things. So I think we have really good perspectives. We have great communication with our students. When I teach social work and other faculties that all other faculty in our department teach, we really do talk about how do you apply the skills that we're talking about in the classroom to your actual clients. How do you actually connect with them? So we do lots of role plays, we do lots of interactions. We practice our skills in the classroom and on each other so that we can learn what's it like to actually hear someone's deepest, darkest secret and show them love. I think at Asbury, we have the awesome opportunity to talk about how Christ connects in this, right? I once heard someone say that it's hard to be a social worker and be a Christian, and I say that's wrong. I was called to be a social worker because of my relationship with Christ, and I feel like it pushes me further to see how I can serve, and I love to talk to my students about that.